Alright, hello everyone and welcome to a special first impressions video of the newly released Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime. I am pretty excited and have been pretty excited for a while about the release of this series because, well, I mean, come on, you guys have probably noticed that I do a lot of Fallout content on this channel. I love the games, it's one of my favorite franchises of all times, and so I've been optimistic, though cautiously so, about this series coming out because, well, let's be honest, Hollywood generally doesn't do a very good job converting games to TV shows and movies. But like I said, cautiously optimistic. I went into it with the first episode, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. And I wanted to do a first impressions of it because, well, Amazon released all 8 episodes at once, and that's something like 8 or 9 hours worth of content, and I don't have that kind of free time to binge the whole thing right now. It's honestly probably going to take me a couple of weeks to finish the whole series, but I was at least able to watch the first episode and wanted to give you guys my first impressions of it, what I thought, and some of the worries that I have about the show, but to be honest, a lot of things I really like because overall, before we jump into some specifics, I actually really did love this show. It was amazing. It had me hooked from the get-go. I absolutely love it. There are definitely some issues that I have with it. Some of them I saw coming with all the content that we had seen trailers and such before the release. And honestly, a lot of that, though, is my own personal opinions that I'm meh about. But yeah, it's a really great show. So I wanted to kind of go through in order of the episode of how things happened, some of the points that I really thought were pretty interesting or pretty bad or pretty, well, actually none of it was bad, but pretty meh on occasion. So there are definitely going to be some spoilers here, but if you would like to see my impression of things, well, keep on watching. Now, the first and foremost bit is the pre-war scene. That was absolutely awesome. We got to meet Cooper, who does eventually become the Ghoul in the show, and I really did like the portrayal of the pre-war America aspect there in the show. The buildings in the background look great. It was pretty cool seeing the TV, as we see it in the show, or not in the show, but in the game. It was very cool, and Cooper seemed like an interesting character, and then, of course, the bombs fall, and it's just chaos, and it's very cool seeing that. We saw the chaos in Fallout 4 in the pre-war scene, but I think the show actually did even better. It was very fun, very interesting, and my one problem I had with it, though, and honestly it really was my only problem with that part of the show, was the cars. All the cars in it that we saw were just normal vintage America cars from our own world, which I understand they're not gonna remake the entire Chrysler, or not Chrysler, but Corvega line of cars for a TV show. They just used normal vintage cars, and it works well enough, but I don't know, it was just something about it kind of made me go, oh, come on, where's my Corvega, etc. But still, it was a really cool scene that I very much did like and already did sort of draw me into the show. I really liked it. And then, of course, we went to Vault 33 and got to meet Lucy, I guess you would say our main character of the 3 main characters. And I really did like almost everything about the Vault 33 scene here. First and foremost, I gotta admit, I've always been torn about the modernized vault suits they put out in Fallout 4. I didn't like them in the games. I thought they looked ugly. But in real life, on the show, they look actually really good. A lot better than rendered in a video game. And it kind of changed my mind on those specific designs for the suit. It looked pretty darn cool overall. I actually really did like the look of it. The vault itself I thought was a little bit overly large, but, I mean, it's a TV show. Of course, they're going to make it a lot bigger of a thing than what you're dealing with in a video game. But overall, I thought it was really nice. I thought it looked very well lived in. There was a lot of great details to everything. And I gotta say, one of the most interesting parts about it was the wedding dress. Again, spoiler here, but Lucy's gonna get married and her friend brings her this wedding dress, and it's a vault that's been sealed for over 2 centuries. They only have one wedding dress to share. And so she writes her name on the inside, like all the other women before her had. And I thought that was a really cool scene because it goes to show how isolated they are, that they are reusing things. And it, again, just kind of makes it feel more lived in and real. And I really did appreciate that. And I thought it was a good touch. Now, bad part, and honestly this is a very minor nitpick, the first aid kits on the walls are not the right design. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it did. But still, the stim packs, though, inside of them, those look pretty darn good, so I'm very happy about that. But then, at the end of that vault scene, we get, I think, my biggest part of it that I'm kind of meh about with the show right now. Is it's the typical Bethesda vault story. Just like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and now the TV show. Its family member gets taken out into the wasteland in some way, shape, or form, and you as family member must go find them. It's the same damn story we've been seeing with Bethesda since Fallout 3. And I'm just... I mean, Lucy's a cool character, so I can't wait to continue watching her do things. But come on, man, get some new material in there for an overarching story. But that then brings us into the Brotherhood, which... is my second biggest gripe. I've mentioned it before in some streams. I'm just so sick and tired of the Brotherhood, honestly. I just find them boring at this point. Why does every Fallout thing have to have a major focus on the Brotherhood? That's honestly why one of my favorite Fallout games is Fallout New Vegas, when the Brotherhood is dying and weak. But no, we come in and meet Maximus, the third of the three main characters, and they're at some sort of Brotherhood of Steel training base where there's hundreds of Brotherhood of Steel people being trained, so there's obviously many more out there, which I'm just so bored of the Brotherhood. And then we see the weird copy of the Pridwin that they have, which I also don't like, because wasn't the Pridwin supposed to be like a custom-made thing from the unique land crawler that they constructed it from Fallout 3? So I'm kind of meh about all that, but that being said, there were still some things I really, really liked about that aspect, or that part of the show. First off, power armor looked freaking cool. I know online a lot of people have been going back and forth about it. I thought it looked awesome. The uniforms, much like with the vault suits, the costume designers did an absolutely banging job on all of the Brotherhood of Steel uniforms. They look the part. They are cool looking. It is just very, very well done. And one thing I really appreciate is that they kind of go back to some of the more overtly religious overtones that the Brotherhood had in the original games. Once we got the 3, we kind of lost that, and they really focused on the just techno knight sort of aspect. But in the original games, there was very much a sort of religious aspect to the Brotherhood of Steel, even referring to their power armor as holy armor, etc. And we really seem to get back to that with a lot of these things like rituals and incense and stuff that I think is a pretty cool way to come back to the roots of the Brotherhood, which is pretty nice. I may not be happy about the Brotherhood being a focus, but at least they did it very well and, went back to some of the original Brotherhood things. Now, then after you meet all the Brotherhood stuff, you come back to the vault where Lucy is going to start her adventure, and it's a pretty cool little scene about her breaking out against the will of all the other people in the now very decimated vault. And the parts that I really liked about it was, honestly, again, kind of a weird thing for me, but the backpack she's wearing. I saw it in the trailers, and I don't know why, but I really love the Vault Tech backpack and bedroll and everything that she has as she's exiting. I don't know why. I just think it's really cool. I would actually really like one of those. It's pretty awesome. And then of course we get very much the trope from Fallout of her leaving the vault and being blinded by the light as she exits. So, makes sense. A good little throwback to basically all the games when that happens. But what I really loved about this scene that I just thought was such a cool little aspect to it, which is overall kind of, there's a lot of things like this. In the games, you can only do so much because you're working in a game engine. And the creators here really did add in a lot of extra stuff into the world that never existed, because they can make the world a little bit more cluttered, a little bit more interesting. And when she leaves the vault, not only do you see the typical skeletons outside the vault we usually get, but there were even these Ash Pompeii people in these, positions of pain and torture after they had been vaporized by the nuke. It was just such a cool scene. I very much like that. A nice departure from just the usual skeletons, which of course we did also get, but it was a cool little addition that I thought really added to the world. And then after that, we go back to Maximus, who becomes a squire. Who, I mean, actually, before the squire part, I got a good laugh out of the fact that Maximus is a fridge kid. It's a trope we've seen a couple of times in the Fallout franchise. It's always amusing, so he's our fridge kid. And then he becomes a squire. And I like, again, a part I liked about the Brotherhood here, is the squires are actually functional medieval squires. They're not just a rank of soldier, they're actually carrying the equipment of their lord knight and, making sure they've got what they need, all that sort of stuff, which I thought was a very cool little addition. Again, something we don't really see in the games these days, but, makes sense with the titles that they have. We also did get a mention of the Commonwealth, which we don't know for sure right now, but at least from the first episode. But it seems like maybe the Commonwealth is where the Brotherhood is, mainly located and their command structure is at this point, which would make sense. If Fallout New Vegas is canon, and the West Coast Brotherhood is dying, or was dying, whereas the East Coast Brotherhood was thriving, it would make sense that they're kind of, now the ones in charge. And then, of course, we meet another thing, you can't get away from in Fallout. There's an Enclave scientist they've gotta find. It's like, oh, okay. So not only are we getting the boring Brotherhood, but we're back to the Enclave, huh? I mean, at least it's not the full Enclave. It's just a guy, a scientist, but he's got some sort of thing that's a threat, and the Brotherhood's gonna go and find it. And overall, again, bored of the Brotherhood, but I do like all the little aspects that they added into the scene. And then finally, at the end of the episode, we end up at some weird fort somewhere, God only knows where we meet Cooper again, but now as a ghoul. And my favorite part about it, though, is that we see in this area, or in this scene, rather, the junk jet. One of the guys in the group has one and kills a dude with, a baby arm, which, awesome. It's great. And then they, of course, free Cooper. We see him in his ghoul form, and I think he looks quite good as a ghoul. But another minor sort of thing I've got against it, he doesn't sound very much like a ghoul. He really does still sound like he did in the pre-war era, which I get from TV show perspective. They don't want to make him sound all gravelly, etc. But honestly, I think it's a little weird seeing a ghoul who's not like that, which, I mean, granted, in the whole Fallout franchise, we've had ghouls who don't sound like the traditional ghouls, but nonetheless, I just thought it was a little bit odd. But all in all, the whole thing was freaking great. A few minor things here and there that I didn't care for. I still don't know why the first aid kits bothered me so much, but they did. It was one scene where we saw the first aid kit, and I was just sitting there going, what the hell? The stim pack was good, though. The stim pack was good. And yeah, just overall, I'm very hopeful. I am still a little wary about how much moving forward into the next, 7 episodes of the series that the Brotherhood of Steel are going to be a part of. They definitely seem like they're going to be a major, huge part, which saddens me to no end. Just because, again, a personal thing with me, I'm just bored of the Brotherhood. But I really liked everything with the Vault. I really love the characters, even though I'm not too big of a fan of the Brotherhood of Steel. Maximus is a pretty cool character. I like him so far. Cooper's cool, Lucy's cool, everyone seems very fun. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see the second episode. There's definitely some things that I'm a little worried about, some of the lore that's going to come around. Honestly, there wasn't any major lore bits I didn't care for in this first episode, but just again from previews and stuff we've seen, I'm a little worried about those, but we'll see how it goes. But overall, it was great, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the season. I really hope it keeps up the same sort of energy. The music in it was perfect, very much that Fallout kind of music you expect. There was very much that dark humor to things. There was some badass fight scenes in it, which was pretty cool. I didn't really go over that, but they were very, very entertaining. And with the characters, I can't wait to see when they all meet and hopefully interact with each other in a fun manner. My just major thing I'm worried about is more Brotherhood of Steel. But overall, really great. If you guys haven't watched it yet, you really, really should. Even if, like me, you're bored of the Brotherhood, it's well worth I'm not gonna let that go. It's well worth the watch. It's great. It honestly is. I think, at least from this first episode, one of the best adaptations of a video game I've seen so far. They really did a good job, and you can really tell that the creators really did their homework and really did like the franchise, and I can't wait to see more. But yeah, that's my first impression of it. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I don't know if I'll make videos about the other episodes, mainly because, like I said, it's probably gonna take me weeks to actually watch the whole damn thing. But I mean, hey, who knows? If this does well and you guys like it, I may go into, you know, first impressions / slight synopsis about those two. Who knows? But definitely go check it out, have fun with it, and hopefully you've enjoyed this strange little episode today and you come back for, well, the next thing on the channel. But until that time, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, well, have a good one.